So I am going to give a slightly biased account. And in order to get a real feeler for what the medical school is like, I would highly, highly recommend speaking to as many different people as possible. So a question I get asked a lot about medicine, medical school, is it hard? Medicine, I wouldn't describe it as hard. It's not easy, but it is one of the most rewarding things that I have ever done in my life. It truly is a case of you get out what you put in. Also, if you're committed and motivated and you do really enjoy science, you do really enjoy working with people and the course, then you'll enjoy it so much that you won't find it too difficult, or at least that's what I found so far. Another disclaimer is that I have officially completed first year. However, I do acknowledge that there are 4, potentially 5, if I intercalate, long years ahead of me. So this is just a really, really quick video just about first year only. That means I recognise a lot of things that I'm saying in this video could very well change in a couple of years' time. But up until this point, this is how I feel. So you can read all about the C21 spiral curriculum that Cardiff Medical School use online. And even just from reading that, what you'll probably notice is that the mediums through which we are taught do vary quite a lot. And that can vary even within a day. So the first part of first year is PCS, which stands for Platform for Clinical Sciences. PCS, I found, even though it was quite a challenge because it was very science heavy, it was absolutely brilliant because it got me and all my colleagues to the same level. Because you've got to remember that when you go to university or medical school, even though people might have taken the same A levels, say biology for example, because everybody takes a different specification, you're not all going to be on the same level. Meaning that while some specifications will have focused on some aspects of science, others may have ignored those completely and focused on another. So basically, through PCS, you all get put on a level playing field, which is really, really great. Also, PCS is your first opportunity to work with people in your cohort, in your year, and so it really does help with team working skills as well. Then after Christmas, we move on to case-based learning, which is where you discuss one case every 2 weeks in smaller groups than your tutorial groups for PCS were. And that learning is also supplemented by lectures, sessions in the anatomy centre, clinical skills that are taught on placement as well. So speaking of placement, after Christmas and first year, you start placement and it's for 1 day a week. Now, because of COVID-19, things changed a lot. One of the things that I found the hardest is that we no longer had placement, which really bummed me out because I personally really, really enjoy placement. However, we were still sent lots of really, really helpful things online. So lots of lecturers would deliver their lectures electronically and then send them to us. We got sent practical workbooks, clinical community learning workbooks, which were all really, really helpful. And luckily, didn't find them too overwhelming. So that was really, really great. Another question I get asked a lot about being at medical school is how much free time do you get? And this is a controversial question because I think it's really subjective and it really depends on how organised you are as a person. What I will say is that if you are organised and if you are motivated, then you do have enough free time to get involved in sport. And actually at Cardiff University, it's really, really encouraged. Even in the medical school, we have Wednesday afternoons off so that you can participate in matches and you can travel to do sport and you can train as well. So yeah, in terms of free time, if you are organised and you plan your work schedule and you get all your work done during the day when you're meant to, then evenings are a brilliant time to socialise, train, get involved in sport. And obviously, as I said, you have the weekends and Wednesday afternoons to travel and do sport, which is great. This is by no means an exhaustive account of what it is like for everyone to be a medical student at Cardiff University. I wish in hindsight that I could go back and film a day in the life or a week in the life so that I could show you guys really what it is like and just how brilliant it is, to be honest. But unfortunately, I'm not in Cardiff anymore, so I can't. But what I can recommend is that you research. Look at even TikTok now, you can search #medicalstudent and there's so many medical students doing question and answers, which will answer your questions about medical school in general. But as far as Cardiff University Medical School goes, we have a brilliant medical education team who I'm sure will be on hand to answer any specific questions about Cardiff. And please, please, please do get in touch with the team and ask more Cardiff specific questions. I could talk for days and days and days about why Cardiff is great, the rugby culture. It's a busy city, but it's not too overwhelming. There's some lovely walks. You get the opportunity to have bilingual lectures with live translation. The societies and the sporting opportunities are immense. They are truly, truly great. And I would say that overall, the teaching experience at Cardiff University Medical School is very, very forgiving for the fact that we all have a life outside of medicine. And I know that I, for one, was actually really surprised when I arrived at medical school that I was somewhat encouraged to have hobbies outside of medicine. But I did find it a really, really sweet release from the days of hardcore science, because they can be quite intense. I guess all that remains to say is that I remember exactly what it was like to be sat as a sixth former looking towards medical school rather than being in it. It really wasn't that long ago for me. And obviously, although our circumstances are very different because of the COVID pandemic, I do remember how scary and uncertain it all was. And the best advice that I can give, I'm sure you've heard this all already as a prospective sixth former, if you are, keep asking questions and really get to know the people at each university. Because ultimately the course does matter, but I would argue what matters more is the people that are supporting you through it. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really hope that you enjoy the open day, and I'm sure there will be the opportunity to ask many questions. So do ask away.